Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Good morning. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
And Dana, I'm super excited today. We have an amazing guest. A few weeks ago, you and I decided that really the biggest lessons from COVID that everyone would really need to get is health and wealth. And so I'm super excited today because our guest today is going to talk to us about health. And so Shawn Tolleson, I will let you go ahead and kind of give your story and your background and then kind of how you and I, our paths crossed, and then tell us kind of what your journey's been like in the health world and what you think people need to learn from COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys for having me. Linda, it's great to see you again. Nice to meet you, Dana. I got to listen to a couple of your podcasts last night, so I liked what I was hearing. But really, my story starts in baseball. So I have been a baseball player my whole life up until just a couple years ago, and had the chance to play in Major League Baseball for 5.5 seasons. And had some good seasons, had some bad seasons, but really, even in my prime of my baseball career, I wasn't well, right? I was getting by, and I was doing the job that I needed to do, but from a health perspective, I just really wasn't well. I was 26, 27, 28 years old in the prime of my athletic career and could hardly get out of bed. Just constantly sore, had chronic inflammation. And I started putting on weight, a very unhealthy weight. And I'm a dedicated guy, right? My path to success was to work harder than the other person. That's kind of my dad instilled that in me. And I took it seriously. And I took pride in working really, really hard. And I was, working with the best strength and conditioning coaches, the best nutritionists, I should say, not nutritionists. And just, it wasn't working for me. It wasn't working. And I, to kind of put things in perspective, I was about 240 pounds, still pitching well, but, it took everything in me every single day to get up, get out of bed, be a great father, be a great husband, and get to the ballpark and pitch, right? And for me to get my body feeling like it needed to feel to do my job took hours and hours and hours of work. And time and attention. And I just got to a point where I just knew that it shouldn't be like this. I'm way, way, way too young to feel like this. And then, so that's kind of when I started doing things on my own. I started researching. I'm a very outside the box thinker. I love collaborating with people who have odd solutions to problems, right? Things that people hadn't thought of. And there's a million different ways to skin a cat, right? And I'm the kind of person who likes to think about the most obscure way to do that, and the most time efficient way to do that, and the quickest way to do that. So I started reading lots of books from different doctors and listening to podcasts and learning from physicians and functional medicine physicians. And I started implementing all sorts of different things that weren't really used in the athletic world, right? It wasn't your traditional strength program, your conditional conditioning program, your traditional athlete's diet. And I just started dabbling, and some of the stuff was working and some of the stuff wasn't working, but I was trying, right? I was trying everything. And that's kind of, and I know on a previous podcast that you guys recorded with Dr. Jeffrey Gladden from Apex, that's kind of how I got in touch with him, right? So I'm local to the Dallas area, just like Linda is. And I know Linda, I know she works with Dr. Gladden at Apex as well. And that's really a big turning point in my journey. I ran across him. I think it was a podcast that Dan Sullivan was on, and he was talking about Dr. Gladden. So I kind of researched it, reached out, ended up signing up with him, went through a bunch of testing, learned a tremendous amount about myself and kind of what makes me unique. And I was 110% all in and implementing everything that he recommended.
Hey, Shawn, would you share some of those things, like some of the things that you learned during that process?
Yeah, for sure. Some of the things that I learned were what kind of foods were working for me, what kind of foods weren't working for me. So food intolerance testing. Some of the things were supplements that I should have been on that I wasn't on, things that specifically my body needed. And a lot of things that I learned had to do with sleep, right? I learned that I really wasn't that good of a sleeper. And so I started trying to optimize every single thing around sleep. Sleep is really the most important thing you do in a 24-hour period. It really is. And as someone who, is running a few businesses and has 3 little kids at home, and, it's easy to not prioritize that, but sleep is my baby, right? So sleep is it's kind of my time. And so I started focusing on my sleep. Those were just a few things, and I'm sure we'll tap into a few others as well. But that kind of started my path to this. So I worked with Dr. Gladden for about a year, and then ended up retiring from baseball. Right, my passion shifted. Right, my passion shifted from baseball to health, and I kind of felt that happening over the course of the year working with him, and really felt kind of the pull to be home, to be with my family, and to start a new career in health. And it was about a week after I officially retired from baseball that I started actually working with Dr. Gladden, which is where I met Linda. And that's kind of how we crossed paths. And, here I am today, and I have launched my own health optimization company. Okay. Very, very different from what Dr. Gladden does, right? And I have to tell this to everyone I work with, right? I'm not a doctor by any means or any stretch of anyone's imagination. So my ability to diagnose and prescribe anything is, that would be false, right? That would be a lie. I can't do that. But what I do, and kind of, through my time working with Apex, I kind of found my passion was that personal one-on-one communication with people. It was that one-on-one coaching relationship. And I saw a lot of people really getting better from changing their lifestyle habits, right? Implementing new strategies. And it was all about not making things more complicated, but really finding what kind of lifestyle strategies are working for people in their current, work schedules, their busyness. What can we put in there to actually save them time and to create more health for them? And I love working with people. Kind of what I say is, after a year of working with me, if we're not best friends, then I did something wrong, right? I want to know the ins and outs of every person I work with. And so that's kind of what led me to start my own company, Tollesen Health Advisors.
Okay. So Shawn, a couple of questions, and I think during COVID, people really are interested in saying, how do I, where do I start with my health? So you said one of the best things you learned was things around sleep. So from what you see, when you see your people every day, what are a few simple things that people can start with on their sleep that help them with their health?
Yeah. Number one, first thing I think of is you have to set the stage for your sleep. It's not just going to magically fall into this deep sleep. It has to be intentional. And most of us, you've heard about the different stages of sleep. There's light sleep and deep sleep and REM sleep. And the most important sleep stage is your deep sleep. And most of us are getting most of our deep sleep. So let's say most of us are getting about 75% of our deep sleep in our first hour or two of our sleep. And so if we're falling asleep with a lamp on, or the lights on, or the dog in the bed, or the TV on, there's a really good chance that during that first hour of sleep, something's going to wake you up, and you're going to have to wake up and turn your lamp off, wake up, turn the TV off. And you're breaking out of that deep sleep that you're getting. And chances are you may never make it back to that deepest stage of sleep again for the rest of the night.
Y'all, I'm getting the biggest stink eye from Adam across the room right now because of my dog. Every night he's so tiny. He is so tiny, but you wouldn't think that only being 5 pounds he wouldn't take up majority, but he pushes Adam off the bed, and then so I'm in the middle, and then Frankie, and then Adam sleeps on the nightstand.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we all love our fur babies. I'm no different, right? I love my dog, but he definitely sleeps on the floor. But but it's just one of the simple things. And, other tips and tricks, right? You want to have a dark room. You want to have a really, really dark room. So if you don't have blackout shades in your bedroom, it's a good thing to think about getting them. You want to sleep in a cold room. Okay. So you want it to be in the 60s. And I know that can be really expensive, especially where we're living in Texas and Kentucky right now. It does get expensive, but what's the price of your health, right? If sleep's the most important thing you're doing, it's more important than what you're eating for lunch. It's more important than the supplements you're taking. It's more important than your gym membership, right? So invest in your sleep. Besides that, it's a really good idea. And what I've found, it's good to go to bed clean. Okay. Like take a shower or, somehow wash your face. It's good to I get better sleep when I'm clean when I go to sleep. I also get better sleep if I'm wearing something, I'm a guy, I'm a dude, so I always sleep in my underwear. So this doesn't really apply to me, but most of us are like, if you've got pajamas, like have a set of clothes or a couple sets of clothes that are your sleep clothes, because psychologically your body, when you put them on, kind of gets into that sleep state. And try to put them on not a minute before you actually get in bed, but try to put them on an hour before you get to bed, and your body will actually start to wind down and calm down. One of the biggest things in today's world is devices, right? We have to limit our device time, and especially in the evening when it's dark, right? So I know it's not perfect. So we've got to check email sometime. We got to text people back. But if you do, like I wear these glasses, you've heard of blue blocker glasses. Everyone's wearing blue blockers because everyone's doing Zoom calls all day long, just like we're doing right now. But there's actually ones with red tinted lenses that are going to block 100% of this blue light. And so when it's dark outside, as soon as it turns dark, I put these on. And if I've got to check email or text people, or maybe I just want to watch The Bachelorette with my wife, right? I put on my red tinted lenses, and that's kind of how I do it, just to ensure that I'm not messing with my sleep too much. And then lastly, you've got to get your mind right for sleep. And so there's, I can't take credit for this, but there's, I wrote a blog post on this. It's the 10-3-2-1-0, right? 10-3-2-1-0. And, 3 hours before sleep, you try not to eat, right? 2 hours before sleep, you try not to do any work related things. 1 hour before sleep, you try not to use any screen time, no TV, no devices. And so, I kind of go into, if you check out my blog, you can read more in detail about exactly what the 10 and the 0 are. But
how do they find your blog, Shawn?
You can find it on my website. So just go to tollesenhealth.com and click on blog. That comes out every week on Mondays.
And it's TOLLESON.
You've got it.
So Shawn, a couple of things. One, why is sleep so important? What have you discovered when you've researched that? What is it about sleep? Is it just it's our reboot time? What's so important about sleep? Because I think most people don't really even focus on how to get better sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really important. It's when your body recovers. It's when your body heals. It's when your body takes out the trash, if you can think about that, right? So if you're not sleeping well, you got a lot of garbage building up in your body, and nobody needs that, right? We want to be getting rid of that every single day. There's a lot of ways to take out the trash, right? You can take out the trash by exercising, by sitting in a sauna. There's different ways to do this, by eating foods that can actually detoxify your body, but sleep is the best way. And there's no amount of supplements you can take to make up for sleep. And we don't live, if I could get 8 hours of sleep a night, that would be awesome. But that's not realistic for me. I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-month-old. And I run a couple companies, and it's not perfect every time. So then what do? We try to increase the efficiency of our sleep and the effectiveness of our sleep. So if I can only sleep for 6 hours, but I can get 2 hours of deep sleep, I actually feel pretty good, right? And so we work on strategies on these times that, you can't sit out and dedicate 9 hours to your sleep. How do we get the most bang for our buck?
So what's the ideal deep sleep? I know I have a Oura Ring, and so it tells me a lot of stuff. I don't ever know what to do based on that. So
yeah.
I got this much deep sleep, but I'm really restless. But
sure.
how to fix that?
Yeah. So I love the Oura Ring as well. So all of my clients wear Oura Rings, so I can keep tabs on them every day. So they say that I'm their creepy stalker because I'm always constantly watching this and monitoring this. But
so for the people that don't know what that is, what is that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Oura Ring is a device that you wear. It's actually a ring that you wear on your finger. And podcast listeners can't see this, but since we're looking at each other right now, I'll just show you. Right. It's a little ring right here, but it's got sensors on it, and so it actually can track your sleep, your movement, your activity, your recovery. They call it your readiness score. So things like what's your resting heart rate throughout the night, what's your heart rate variability, what all sorts of different things. Really, really cool tool. And so for deep sleep, you really want to try to get about 25% of your sleep in deep sleep. Okay, very, very few people are actually doing that. But that's what I shoot for, right? Is 25% of my total sleep in deep sleep.
Got it. And I know one of the issues when I started focusing on sleep, which by the way, sleep was the very last thing I started working on. But as I began to do it, I realized that one of the biggest issues is all the little things in your room that have a little blue or red or yellow or some kind of light on them. So I found just picking up the eye mask, the dark out eye mask, and wearing that because I couldn't get enough tape to put on all the places, and of course you can't shut your door where your whatever that machine is that makes the TV go and all that crap because it gets too hot in there. So I found we were leaving that open and all the lights were coming out of that. Or your smoke alarm has a little light on it.
Mm-hmm.
So just the eye
exactly.
mask.
It's the eye mask is it's a simple solution, right? I feel like I lose a man card if I throw on an eye mask for some reason, so I don't do it. But it's true. We live in the 21st century, right? We're not going to escape our modern environment. There's always going to be lights, right? If we want to be a normal person today, there's going to be lights in our room. There's going to be lights outside coming through the window. But what I try to do is try to steer people back to almost like an ancestral way of living, right? And why do we want a completely dark room? It's because ancestrally, right, we would have a really dark place, right? There wouldn't be electricity at night. Everything would be candlelit until we go to bed, and we would blow that candle out. And so that's why we're trying to kind of mimic. And in a lot of things that I do, whether it's the exercise I'm recommending or what we're eating, right, I'm trying to take people back in a way as close to an ancestral way of living as possible.
Yeah, love it.
Y'all, I was going to tell you this. I read the craziest thing. I'm reading the best book right now, and I just started it. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be really good. But it's Chad Veach's new book, Help I Work with People. Have you all seen that? It is.
I have not.
Oh my gosh, it is so good. Speaking of sleep, I could not go to sleep last night because I could not put down the book. But listen to what he said in here. He gives an example. He said, and you guys probably knew this. I did not know this. I'm sure, Shawn, you did. He said Mav Carter, the manager of LeBron James, just recently said in an interview that one of the top reasons for LeBron's consistent performance as a 33-year-old is he spends about $1.5 million a year on his body. And he was talking about all the things that he does, from cryotherapy to hyperbaric chambers to exotic leg boots to diets and exercise routines and trainers and all those things. But he said that the only reason that he's able to still dominate at 33 years old in the basketball industry is because he spends about $1.5 million a year on his body. And he said, think about that for a second and let that number sink in. But then he said, if he's estimated at worth over $1 billion, then his investment of $1.5 million a year is actually paying pretty incredible dividends on his.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts? But I thought it just made me think about, because I knew we were going to do this podcast with you today. And I was thinking, a lot of people don't spend anything on their health.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true.
COVID, I mean, that's what Linda and I keep talking about. Your health is all you've got. I mean, if you don't have your health, what else do you have?
It's really true. It's really true. And I have heard that about LeBron, and I hate to keep beating sleep over your head, right? But and Tom Brady's another example, right? He's a guy who's performing at the best of his life at a really, an old age for what's considered a professional athlete. He sleeps for 11 hours a day.
Wow.
And that's don't touch me time, no devices in his room. He's extremely dedicated to his sleep. And I think that's a huge reason why he's able to do what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I really think it's a huge reason. But you're right. And, health is kind of what I tell people is why care so much about your health? Why should you care? And it's really because if we can maximize your health, you totally increase your capacity to fulfill whatever purpose it is you have in life. And all of us have a purpose in life. Some of us know our purpose and some of us don't. And if you don't know your purpose in life, I encourage you to explore that, right? My purpose in life is to serve other people, right? God's made that very apparent to me that he wants me to serve others. But how do I do that, right? How do I serve other people well if I don't have my health, right? And I think a lot of people, they're so outwardly focused, which is such a great thing, but how do you take care of other people well if you're not taking care of yourself? And even in scripture, in the Bible, when they talk about what are the two most important commandments, right? It's love your God and love others, but it doesn't stop at just love others, right? If it did, then you could justify not caring about your health, right? It says love others as you love yourself, as you love yourself. So we really only have the capacity to love other people as much as we love ourselves. And if you're not taking the time and investing in taking care of yourself, then you're holding back from what you really should be doing in life. And so I encourage everyone I work with as well to explore, like, what is your reason for doing this, right? What is your reason for doing this? So,
Shawn, what did you find? You said sleep was number one. What would be number two if you were ranking them?
Sleep number one. I would rank, it's got to be food number two.
I was hoping we were going to talk about that because I'm interested in your thoughts on plant-based diet.
It has to be food number two. I am extremely against a plant-based diet. I'll just come out and say it. Extremely against a plant-based diet. It doesn't make sense to me. It really does not make sense to me. Now, plants contain a lot of really, really, really good things, right? A lot of really good things. But they contain a lot of bad stuff too, right? A lot of bad stuff. There's a lot of toxicity in plants. Almost all plants have some form of toxicity. And if you think about, right, through evolution, right, the Garden of Eden, right, we have all these beautiful fruits and green plants to eat. And through evolution, everything's trying to survive. Like, everything's trying to make it, survival of the fittest. And throughout time, plants have developed defense mechanisms. Like a plant's number one purpose in its life is to not get eaten, right? And so plants, they create these chemicals to try to keep animals from eating them. But we eat them, right? We're eating them. But in the seeds and in the skins of so many vegetables, not so much fruits, but in vegetables, there's a lot of toxicity. Now, I'm not saying don't eat vegetables, right? I'm definitely not saying that. Most of us need to be eating vegetables. I'm actually reading.
Are listening with their parents right now are like, yes, no more vegetables.
Right. Well, I'm not saying go eat a bunch of processed food. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there's a huge amount of value in meat, and not conventional meat, right? But grass-fed and grass-finished beef is very, 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 very nutritious. And if you look, especially, I talk about the ancestral way of living. We've gone so far away from how animals were meant to be eaten. Animals were meant to be eaten nose to tail, right? So not just let's sliver out the muscle and cook it up, right? But animals were meant to be eating the skins and the ligaments and the cartilage and the tendons and all the connective tissue and the organs. I guess I'll ask you guys a question. What's the most nutrient dense food on the planet?
Maybe the bone marrow.
Really, really, really good guess. Really good guess. I love bone marrow, but no.
Organs or something?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I was going to say
it's the organs. Yeah. It's actually liver. Okay. Liver is the most nutrient dense, right? I don't like to eat liver either, right? I really don't. But I try to incorporate it, and I take some supplements that are actually just freeze dried liver, spleen, heart, lung, bone marrow supplements, because I know how nutritious it is.
I've heard about those. Shawn, what's a brand that you use for stuff like that if somebody's not going to eat liver?
Yeah, a couple brands I really like. As a brand that just came out, Heart and Soil, is really good. Another one's Paleo Valley, has a beef organ complex that's really good. There's one you can find on Amazon Prime that's Ancestral Supplements. They've got a large line of organ supplements. But yeah, you know, I guess I am very against a plant-based diet. You know, I think when that movie Game Changers came out, a lot of people, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it was a Netflix documentary. There was a lot of stuff wrong with that film. There's a lot of stuff. You can't compare us to an ox, right? We're not an ox. Our digestive systems are totally different. I think an ox has like 4 stomachs and totally different digestive enzymes. Of course they can eat grass all day and be strong, right? But we're not built like that. We're totally not built like that. And you know, I'm a big believer in trying everything, right? Especially if before I'm going to recommend it to a client. I try not to recommend anything that I haven't tried personally. There's a book out right now called The Carnivore Code by Dr. Paul Saladino. And he's totally radical, right? And actually, I think he uses the word radical to describe himself, but he's got a radical diet. I mean, he literally eats just meat and organ meats and skin and tissue. Anyway, I don't think most of us need to be eating like that. Okay. I'm not going to go so far as that, but I'm actually starting today. I'm doing a 30-day trial, right? Eating a carnivore diet. And according to my genes, genetics, it's probably not a good idea, right? It really isn't. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because his book is rather convincing. So I'm going to be tracking it. So if you want to follow along, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, right? Tollesen Health. You can follow along and kind of track me through this 30 days, and we'll see exactly what kind of changes you see in my body.
So you're going to only eat meat?
I'm only going to eat meat for 30 days.
Wow, that'll be interesting. I did a Pinner test like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, or I can't remember how long it's been now. And my number one sensitivity was beef. And I was super bummed because I eat, I mean, hamburgers and tacos and all that.
Also on your sensitivities, Dana, you just stay off of them for a while and then you can
reintroduce it. Yep.
I think, you know, from my journey of spending time and money with Dr. Gladden and having my genetic stuff, I really believe everybody is unique. And I think once you clear out the processing, you know, Shawn, I'm a big component of intermittent fasting. You and I have talked about that in the past. But I feel like once my body gets clear of all the crap, I intuitively sense what I need or hungry for. It's really weird because like I've been off of chicken lately. Like I don't want any chicken, but I love beef. And so I feel like intuitively, I think genetically, the way wherever we originated from has a lot to do with maybe what works best for us. Maybe we do have sensitivities and things that pop up that we need to let off of things for a while. We've had too many of them. But I don't believe everybody fits in a box. And I think this is why so many, you know, box type diets don't work for people because, you know, we're all so unique and so different that, you know, trying things, being an experiment of one and seeing what works for you and how does your body do well on that. You know, I'm still struggling through trying to just lower my carbs and sleep at night because when I do keto or anything like that, I don't sleep worth a crap. I get 4 hours, I wake up instantly and my body goes, let's go, you know. So I think you know, you kind of have to be an experiment of one to figure all that. How will you do just eating meat? Won't your ketones go through the roof and you won't be able to sleep at all?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I've tried a ketogenic diet and I've definitely, you know, gotten my ketones up. It doesn't affect my sleep too much. And typically you see that with men, it doesn't affect as much as it does for women. As well, you know, there's different genes that kind of can dictate whether or not you do well with having ketones circulating or fasting and all sorts of things like this. But I love what you said, Linda, about there's really not there's not a cookie cutter approach. And I think a lot of people get frustrated with, why isn't the paleo diet working for me? Why isn't keto working for me? Why isn't vegan working for me? And the reason, it's not really the diet. That's not the reason. Okay. The reason really is your metabolic health. Are you metabolically healthy? Okay. And when I talk about metabolic health, I'm talking specifically about, are you controlling your blood sugar levels? what is your triglycerides? What is your HDL, or your high density lipoprotein, your good cholesterol? Okay. What's your waist circumference? These are, and notice I didn't mention body weight. We have to start thinking about health as being more than just how much do you weigh, right? A scale is the most worthless piece of fitness equipment you're going to buy. Okay. It really is. Weight loss will happen when you're healthy. If you need to lose weight, right? If you don't, it's not going to happen. But really, are you metabolically healthy? And I actually just created a quiz. If you go follow me and find me, you can find it. But I created a quiz, like, are you metabolically healthy? And I think it's like 6 or 8 questions I created. And if you answer these questions, I'm actually going to send you a 3-minute video of personalized recommendations based on your answers. And it's really all about, blood sugar levels. And one of the things that I do with people is I do continuous blood glucose monitoring, right? And so, you wear a device on your arm and it's tracking your blood sugars 24 hours a day. And when you take when you're about to sit down and eat, you take a picture of it, it logs it. I can see what time you ate it and how much it changed your blood sugar, right? And if it spikes your blood sugar, if it goes way, way up and then crashes way, way down, you don't need to be eating that food ever, right? You never need to be eating that. What we want, right, when we eat, it's natural for your blood sugar to go up a little bit, but we want it to go up a little bit. We want it to stay up, and we want it to just slowly come back down. If that's what's happening when you eat the food, there's a good chance that food is good for you, right? And so I set my blood glucose between 70 and 110. 70 and 110. I'm trying to stay within this range every day. So I don't want to eat any foods that are taking me over 110, and I don't want to eat any foods that crash me below, 70. And typically what I've found is low carb, high quality fat foods keep my blood sugars at that range all day long. I can hover at 80 all day long and feel really, really good and energized.
So Shawn, is
it a Freestyle Libre that you use on the constant?
It is. It's a Freestyle Libre, but it's a partnership with a company called Levels, which has just come out. And so they use the Freestyle Libre, but then actually added on a few other things to be able to take the picture of your food and track it. And then they send you a daily report like, hey, here's what you ate today. Hey, you woke up and ate oatmeal this morning and your blood sugar changed by, 40. Stop eating it, right? Don't wake up and eat oatmeal. And so it's a cool tool.
And then on low carb, what's the number you try to stay below that you consider low carb? 50 grams, 100 grams? And is it different for women?
It's different for women. It's different for every single person, right? And it depends on how active you are, right? So, LeBron James, his low carb diet might be 300 grams of carbs a day. But your low carb diet might be 75 grams a day. We just don't know. And women they really are different than men. Typically women do need some carbs, right? My wife, we've got a 4-month-old baby. And of course, like any woman, she's trying to, she's like, all right, I'm ready to get back at it. I'm ready to feel good in a swimsuit again, blah, blah, blah. And she's asking me like, oh yeah, should I go low carb? And I'm like, heck no, you shouldn't, right? Your job right now, one of your jobs right now is to breastfeed, right? That's part of being a mother, and part of being a mother is, and to do that, there's a good chance you're going to need some carbohydrates, but no, so it's totally different for everybody, and for women especially, low carb diets can work, especially if you do a carb load phase leading up to your period and after your period. So like for 2 days leading up to your period and 2 days after your period, if you're actually carb loading, eating really, really good high quality carbs, that's kind of a good approach for a lot of women.
Right. So right now we've got a lot of we have a lot of people who feel like emotionally depressed, down. COVID's not really helping with the mental space. What are some key things that you think are going to help people through mentally getting through this kind of weird year that we have had?
Yeah. One of the things that I love to do is a morning routine. I think morning routines kind of set the tone for the entire day. And I think that people who are struggling with depression and anxiety and isolation during this time, really starting your day off right is crucial. And so everyone's morning routine, again, is going to look different. But one thing that everyone needs to incorporate in a morning routine is a time for, for journal, almost a journal, right? I'm not a journaler, but I do write down every single day. I write down something that I'm grateful for that day. Right. And I think that gratitude practice is so important for kind of setting the tone for your day. Besides that, breathe, some sort of breathing or meditation exercise in the morning. Whether you've got 5 minutes or you've got 20 minutes is really, really good. And I know we've talked about the Oura Ring, and Linda, I don't know if you've ever used the moment feature in the Oura Ring. But if you use that moment feature, there's tons of guided meditations and breath work exercises. And so every morning that I wake up, right, first thing that I do as I'm sitting in front of my red light panel, because I try to kill two birds with one stone, but first thing I do is a gratitude practice. Okay. And that's where I sit down and actually write down something that I am thankful for. And then I go into, and I spend about 5 minutes in prayer, and then I go straight into meditation or breath work. Okay. And, in my opinion, is prayer, meditation, are those the same things? Absolutely not, in my opinion, right? When I'm praying, I'm definitely thinking, right? I'm using my mind as well as my spirit to pray. But meditation is totally different, right? I'm actually trying to empty my mind. I'm trying not to use my brain. But I try to do that for about 5 or 10 minutes after I pray. And that's kind of how I set the tone for my day, right? Is doing something like that. Another tip that can really, really help are just any other types of stress management techniques. Number one, really being exercise, right? Exercise is so important for managing stress. And I mean, there's been tons of studies done, but people are happier, right? Less anxious, less depressed when they exercise. And the hardest part is actually just taking action and starting the exercise, right? But if we can push people and encourage them to just start, that's a great thing. Another tip is sunlight. Okay, so sunlight, get your face in the sun every single day. If you're not spending any time outside, if you've locked yourself in your house, or if you live in a condo or something, and you take the elevator to the parking garage and drive to the next parking garage and go up to your office, and you're never actually outside, it's not good, right? Our bodies need to be outside. They need to be exposed to the sun. This sets your circadian rhythm. I know we've already talked about sleep, but getting sunshine on your face sets your circadian rhythm and actually makes you sleep better at night. And the last tip I'll give is actually, when you go outside, be barefoot, right? Don't have shoes on with rubber soles. Actually go outside barefoot once a day. Make it your goal to go outside barefoot once a day. Because through the modern world that we live in, our bodies create this positive charge, and we can actually pull from the Earth's negative electrons and kind of balance out our body's charge. This makes us happier, right? It makes us feel better. And it sounds a little bit like woo-woo science, right? Like, who's this hippie guy talking? But it really is true. And you don't have to just stand there and hum, like on the ground, right? But when I do this every day, I'm outside with my kids, right? We're running around, and same thing with your kids, right? Let them go play outside barefoot. It's good for everybody.
I love that. I've never even thought about that before, to be honest.
It's good. That's the reason you feel so good when you go to the beach.
Yeah.
It's the reason you feel so good. Probably also because you're not checking your email, but no, but I mean, you're laying your entire body on the sand, right? And you're spending time in the ocean. That's why you feel so good. It's good to go outside.
Absolutely. Well, the things like Juve light therapy, electromagnetic beds, all those were created because we weren't spending enough time outside in the lights and with our feet on the ground.
It's totally true. Exactly. We've got all these machines that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and all it's basically telling us is go outside, right?
I'm literally staring at mine right now, thinking I haven't used it in like months. So it's
what, your red light?
Yeah, just getting back in the habit.
Use it every day.
Yeah, use it first thing in the morning. That's the best time of day to use it.
I find
first thing in the morning.
I get deeper sleep, Shawn, if I'll use it at night too.
Hey, then don't stop using it at night either, right? Don't stop. I mean, yeah. And I'll be honest, I haven't really used it at night too often. So I get hot sitting in front of mine, so I try not to get too hot before bed. But yeah, if it's working for you, Linda, keep at it.
Awesome. Love it. All right.
It's been great.
Any final questions, Dana, you have? Shawn, this has been awesome.
I took so many notes. I don't know that I have a question, but I just took so many notes. I'm having so many ahas. And Linda, you know this, I'm not the best meditator. I don't think you are either, are you?
Hey, guys, yeah, I'm not either. I'm really not. I keep trying, but I'm really not. And the Oura Ring actually tells you whether you did a good job or not, because it can actually track that. And I've never gotten a good score ever. I keep trying, right? I keep trying.
At least I'm trying. That's what I was going to say, though. Yeah, Linda, I feel like it keeps coming to us over and over and over. So we need to make ourselves figure out a way to.
Absolutely. Well, Shawn, how can people find you and how can they follow you? What would be the ways they would find you?
They can find me on my website, tollesenhealth.com. You can find me on Instagram, Tollesen Health, or Facebook. On LinkedIn, you can find me, Shawn Tolleson. But that's how you find me. Feel free to email me, Shawn@tollesenhealth.com. Email me your questions. I'm happy to answer. This is what I love to do. This is my new purpose, right? Is helping people become healthier. And again, right, I'm no doctor, right? It's not through medicine, right? It's through lifestyle medicine, right? We're trying to change your day and make you healthier.
I'm getting ready to take your little quiz right now when we finish.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
And we'll put the link down below for that quiz. How about that?
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome. Shawn, thank you so much. And remember, if you would like to be a guest on our podcast, reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. And be sure and subscribe at the button below. And if you think of someone that would benefit from one of our episodes, be sure and pass our podcast along to them. And Shawn, I want to say thank you so much for your time today. And Dana, I'll see you next week.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you, Shawn.
Thank you, guys.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.